Excuse me, but do you have a moment to talk about astrology? Okay, cool, because that's what we're gonna do. I wanted to make this video to talk about something pretty cool. This video is gonna be how to do your own horoscope. So I know a lot of people, they probably have apps that they use, or maybe even old school with it, and read your horoscope in the newspaper. And that's cool, but 9 times out of 10, you're reading your horoscope for your sun sign. So in that case, you're not really getting the complete picture, because what your horoscope actually literally is how the planets are transiting the sky and how this affects you based off of your unique lineup, aka your birth chart. So in order to know how your birth chart is aligned and which sign falls in each house, you need to know, guess what, your birth time. Once you know your birth time, then you can know which sign is in each house for you, and you can start keep track of the planets and see what signs they're in and which house is transiting of yours, and each house is going to represent a different area of life. So that's I'm trying to break it down in a simple way. So that's a very general, simple way to explain it. I hope it is understandable. And now I'm going to go ahead and show you, how to do your own thing and see how those planets are hitting. Okay, so first of all, like I said, you need to know your birth time. Once you know your birth time, you can use a birth chart calculator, or you could even message me. I'm happy to oblige, and put in the information, and it will tell you what's in your first house, what is your rising sign, or sometimes it's also called the ascendant sign. So once you do that, then you have your little birth chart here. And you can, so naturally, the zodiac chart is lined up like this. So each house represents a different area of life, and these are trying to break it down in the most simplest form, but of course it's much more complex than that. But for the sake of simplicity and trying to show you how to do this, I've tried to break it down as simple as possible into like one word. So normally the zodiac wheel is set up like this with Aries in the first house. So all you have to do is find out what your rising is. So for example, I have a Libra rising. So I have Libra in the first house. Okay, so we see that. Now what's the next step? So the next step is look and see what sign the planets are in. So right now the sun is in the sign of Aries. So we can see that I have Aries, and excuse me, is a little bit ghetto, little bit off, but so we have the sign of Aries transiting my 7th house, which represents relationships. Okay, so we know the sun, the spotlight, that's transiting my 7th house. Okay, but what type of energy does this bring? So let's think about what Aries is. Aries starts off spring. It's the new. It's the start of something, the birth of something. Also, everything has a yin and a yang. There's always a positive and negative side to everything. So on the negative side, it could be war. Aries also represents that. So based off of that information, we can see it's likely that I will be, birthing new relationships, or birthing new ways of seeing and feeling about my relationships, stuff like that. Or even possibly, depending on my mood or how, what kind of seeds I've planted, it could be war in relationships. So that's really cool, right? And that's for the whole Aries season. All right, so now let's go a little step further. So pretty soon we're going to have a Libra full moon on Saturday. Okay, so full moons are intense. This is intense energy. This is where this is the climax of your movie, of the seeds that you planted on the new moon. So this is where shit plays out. And Libra is an air sign, so this is going to be about communication, mental thinking, stuff like that. So in some way, something's going to play out with the full moon in the form of, if I'm utilizing the energy correctly, right? Because that's why we want to know the transits and what planets, how the planets are transiting our houses, what signs they're in. That's how we want to know, so that we can be more, ride the wave of the energy instead of getting washed up in the energy and getting drowned by it and not know what the heck is going on and just getting lost in it. Once you understand, you peep things, you know where it's coming, how it's coming, then you can better align yourself to have the best outcome that you would wish for. So, and I didn't think about this prior, so let's see. All right, so the full moon is coming on Saturday. It's in Libra. So we can see that Libra is transiting my first house of personality. So this house can also represent, personal issues, personal insecurities, things like that. So it's likely that, I will either be thinking or be communicating about, some of my personal issues, personal insecurities, or just the things that I'm personally into. So this is the area of life that it's going to affect me in myself, in me, like straight up myself. All right, so that's one example. Oh yeah, and then a Libra energy is about balance. So with the full moon is the climax and everything like we talked about, but the energy of Libra is balance on its, in a good way, if you want to look at it in its positive way, right? The most effective way. So I want to try and keep my personality balanced. I don't want to be over giving to others, over people pleasing, or overly selfish. Just keeping that nice balance. And you can see that Libra is all about relating to others. And you can see me having that in my first house, which is supposed to be all about me. I automatically think of how it relates to others. So that's a little effed up thing I have in my chart, and pretty much my whole chart is like that. Everything's in the opposite place that it should be. So my life is basically a constant balancing act. All right, so that's the sun and the moon, and you can go further and look into the other planets, and then we can take a look and see. So pretty soon after the full moon, we'll go into Taurus season. And we can see that Taurus transits my house of desires. And Taurus energy, and that's the spotlight where, things will be shining in my life. So Taurus is represented by laying bricks. This is a master builder energy. So laying bricks stone by stone to build this building that you want, or like planting a seed and then every day, watering it and watching it grow. It is a process. It's like putting in that work to see the fruition, to see your fruits bared. So I need to, be focused on planting good seeds in the things that I desire, is one way to look at it. All right, so yeah, so that's like a little example of how you can do your own horoscopes. Of course, you can go in much more depth and go further into the houses and further into the energy, and also see this is based off of the transits of your houses, but you could also see how it affects you in regards to your sun sign and your moon sign as well, because all areas will be affected. And the more you know, the better that you can, make the most out of the energy instead of it letting it take control over you. So I hope that was understandable, and thanks for watching.